what kind of advice would you be giving to yourself when 4 years ago when you just started? What you know today, what advice would you give yourself?
About reacting,
Yeah, related to YouTube in general. It doesn't have to be
related to
necessarily
YouTube.
reacting or career wise, I guess.
Well, I guess career wise, I've let's just say in the beginning, I've always wanted to become a pilot.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a pilot all my life.
Okay.
Obviously that didn't happen. But when I got heavily involved with media productions, and as a musician like yourself, I had so many things that I had involved myself in, with that dealt with production, big production, stage productions, musicianship, concerts, all that kind of venue stuff, kind of a deal. And so, your limitations, and you reach what you can, and you kind of pull back some because, like you said, there has to be some kind of a balance. Now, I know my family, if they're watching right now, if my wife is watching, she's probably thinking, yeah, right, balance, because there's times where, like you said, you're in your basement. I'm downstairs, trying to finish a video editing. That's like until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So there's some things that I've learned through those 4 years of reacting that, what is important to you,
Yeah.
because at the same time too, if you're trying to rush it all in the beginning, for me, yeah, it's good, but later on down the road, you're going to run yourself to the ground because all you're wanting to do is please people by putting more videos out. And then you're not going to give yourself time to breathe. You're not going to give yourself time to even eat, because you're trying to do all these things because you're gaining momentum, which is cool.
Sure. And that gets addicting.
Yes. No, you're right.
It
Exactly.
does.
Especially with YouTube,
Yeah.
because you're constantly looking at the status, the status. You're looking at the statistics. You're looking at all of these things.
I agree. It's learning to disconnect from that and having a
Yeah.
long term perspective and be like, look, I want to do this as a career. I'm not trying to be here like for a year. I'm trying to be here for a long, like maybe not this specifically YouTube, but like a career out of this. So I have to remember to take one day at a time, not
Right.
you know,
Right.
and
And then the other advice, that I've learned from a lot, some other YouTubers, well, viewers who've been watching YouTubers, reactors for a while, they said, Sam, don't change you.
mm,
We love who you are. We like who you are. Your quirkiness, you laugh, you're crying. Don't change any of that, because if you start conforming to what people want you to be, you'll never be the same. And I've learned that, per se, it's kind of like, okay, if you can't accept Bruddah Sam for who he is, then there's other reactors that you can like. Don't
100%.
don't put me on the chopping block just because you hate me or you don't like the way I am, or if you don't like, if there's something that you don't like. So, but again, I have to admit, in the beginning, I took a lot of that personally, and it really hurt mentally. I went through a cycle of, okay, well, this person said this about me, and you start looking at your whole entire life, even if they don't even know anything about you. It's
Yeah.
so weird that just one comment will decapitate who you are, and then
Yeah,
the
man.
viewers will see that. The
Uh-huh.
viewers see that on the next video. They're like, you haven't put in video out for a while. And then I messaged them like, yeah, because so and so said this. And they said, if one person said that, how many other people said the same thing? And I'm like, none. Then get over it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And actually, a guy I heard a really interesting quote. It's essentially like, well, I don't. It's not even a quote. It's a mentality of like you can't. The bad comments, like the criticisms, are going to be very loud if you allow the accolades to be very loud. It's you can't have
Correct.
one and the other. It's like when people
Correct.
leave comments like, oh, I'm grateful for them, like I'm saying, like accolades and, oh, you're the best, oh, I love your channel, like I kind of like I don't listen, like in the sense of like if I let that get to my head, then
Yeah,
well, I mean, like I said, I'm grateful for the comments. It means a ton to me, but like I can't let that get in my head, because if as soon as
exactly.
people are patting me on the back, then when somebody comes with a bad comment, that's gonna hurt just as much, if not more. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yep,
you
exactly.
the whole it's super important for somebody, I think, just starting off, is like, don't listen to anything except for what you truly believe about yourself, and like it, people could say I'm the best, people could say I'm the worst. I don't hear any of it, you know what I mean? Because I
Yeah,
keep going on what I'm doing, because like you said, it's gonna wreck you if
yeah.
if
Oh, it
those
will.
accolades
It
ever
will.
stop. Absolutely.
It will.
And I'm like
Yeah, so,
we're
oh, no,
not
no, go ahead.
go for it, you go for it.
Yeah, no, no, yeah. So, like I was saying with that, it's kind of like where do you draw the line,
Yeah,
and how much do you do and whatnot. And again, the thing is, you don't have to have the whole entire world like you, because
yeah,
we can already see on TV that there's so many people who don't like other people, and that's who they are. I mean, it's
yeah,
you're unique to who you are and to the people that you serve, or the people that comes along with you. And the thing is, I just said, you know what? After the first year, I'm like, you know what? Forget what they say already. Although there
yeah.
are times I have to admit, when you have that one comment, it's like,
Yes.
oh, are you serious right now?
A comment maybe about a month ago maybe sent me on like a little spiral for a bit. Like so I was like, I had when my wife came home, she's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Is this true?" And like I was kind of vomited this whole like I was like, she's like, "No, it's it." Like and she kind of walked me off the edge. I'm like, "Okay, okay, you're right." But it's funny. Like I was gonna say before, like we're not perfect, of course. Like I have that mentality, but sometimes things slip through the cracks in both ways too. Sometimes the
Yeah.
accolades. Sometimes I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good about me. So you know what I mean? It's like no, it's so bad. It's so toxic.